that means you're feeling the vibe. The bell rung, you already been subscribed. Right now, the queen, she on live. Please pull over the whip, no phoning when you drive. Dope soul, sporting with the talk. First lady from New York, New York. All my people, you rocking with the chat. That like button would tell me where you at. You know, step from the MBK. Born and raised up MBK. Hey, real lady, where she holding it down. No matter way how you feel, she gon' greet you with a smile.
Sister, you one of a kind.
Yes.
Oh, sister, it's time you
That's
shine. Don't talk.
Where you at? Where you at?
Don't talk.
Where you at? Where you at?
Don't talk.
What?
Don't talk.
What?
Your soul.
Where you at? Where you at?
Salute, Nick family. Welcome to the morning show. Appreciate you guys being with and gals being with me this morning. I apologize for the Golden State Warriors game. For those who don't know, this is my second year spending the winters in Georgia. My mom passed away a few years ago. She had a house. It was just sitting here. So I said, you know what? I'm going to go down in the winter, spend the winters here. But last year when I was here, I only had the Queen's Court. This year now, I got 4 shows. I got the Queen's Court. I got the Just Nicking It show and the internet. I'm in a rural country, in a rural part of Georgia is just not strong enough. So I don't think I'm going to make it here throughout the winter. Because if you know anything about me, I like efficiency. I like to be able to just turn on my computer and just go. And that's just not the case here. So I apologize for the Golden State Warriors game that I had to miss the recap. All things seem to be a go right now. So let's get into it. Shout out to the chat. Kevin Nelson, D, appreciate you. Cash out James, Andrew, and Dwayne Dennis. The Knicks lost at Phoenix 95-116. I don't know how mad I am about them losing this game. I'm interested to see what you guys think about it. They just looked out of it to me. There was some fight in that first half, and when Phoenix turned up the defense in the second half, the Knicks just did not have an answer. They looked a step slow. You know, we'll get into it. They're 2-2 now on the West Coast trip. Lost 2 in a row, right, to Phoenix and the Golden State Warriors. We're about to break it all down. So again, salute to everybody joining me in the chat. Let's get to this. Let's just set up. You know, coming into the game, the Knicks were 8-8. 8th in the Eastern Conference standings, the offensive rating 19th, defensive rating 22nd. They were playing a Phoenix Suns team that even without Chris Paul is really good. 9-6 on the season, 4th in the Eastern Conference, top 10 in offense and defense, right? The 3rd ranked offense, the 8th ranked defense. We started Brunson. Cam Reddish was out due to a groin injury, so Quentin Grimes got his second start of the season, but the first game in which he's played major minutes. R.J. Barrett, Julius Randle, Isaiah Hartenstein, Mitchell Robinson was back for this game. We'll talk a little bit about Mitch. For Phoenix, it was Cameron Payne, Devin Booker, Torrey Craig, Mikal Bridges, and DeAndre Ayton. And like I said, Chris Paul missed his 6th straight game. Just a few things on just the lineups in minutes. Tibbs played 3 centers last night. And all of them got like 15, 16 minutes between Mitchell Robinson, Jericho Sims, and Isaiah Hartenstein. I don't anticipate that will continue. I think between Hart and Sims will be out of the starting lineup. And I think it depends on which direction Tibbs and the coaching staff wants to go. You know, do they want to continue the defensive presence? I think you go with Jericho, right? So you got Mitchell Robinson is not going to be that much of a difference with Jericho Sims, right? He's not as good as a rim protector as Mitchell Robinson, but in terms of being able to move his feet out on the perimeter, he might be better than, I believe he is better than Mitchell Robinson, even though Mitch has gotten better with, defending the perimeter and moving his feet this season. So there's not much let down. You'll have a defensive presence for 48 minutes. I think if you want some offensive versatility, with not that much rim protection, not that much defense, but still, a good rebounding presence, then you go with iHeart. So it's going to be interesting to see which way the Knicks go. And for Reddish, it just seems like anytime he has an opportunity to kind of set himself up and kind of, and to show what he can be for game after game after game after game, there's some sort of injury. But I think, we've seen enough to know what Cam brings and that there's some more upside there. And I think the coaching staff has seen enough to know, what he can do and how he helps us, and that there's some upside there. But the organization and Tibbs is very high on Grimes, right? So it's going to be interesting to see how this works out. We'll talk about it later. Grimes looked really good in his start. And I don't think RJ Barrett is coming out the starting lineup, right? So it's either going to be Grimes or Cam in the starting lineup, one or the other. Let me check in with the chat really quick before I get to the game stats. Okay. Cormega, salute, appreciate you. Hope all is well with you and the fam. Building Blocks, New York is still on pace to be where most believe we are as a team, which is 500 ball. I think we lose tonight, hence getting swept again this season by OKC, just like last season. I'm hoping, Building Blocks, we win tonight and we go home 3-2, which would be phenomenal based on what our expectations were coming into this West Coast trip. Even 2-3 is not bad, but if we can come out of this trip 3-2, I think that says a lot. Paris Duggar, I hate going against the grain, but the major issue on this team is the thrill is gone playing under Tibbs, uneven handling players. I hear you. Deron Wayne, I like Jericho to play. His free throws have improved also. Yes. I want to see it over the course of the season, because usually when a guy is shooting, when you look at even his college numbers, they went down. He played 4 years at Texas, and each year his free throw percentage went down. Then he comes into the NBA, small sample size, shooting, I don't know, 40, 50%, whatever he was shooting. Usually it's kind of hard to turn it around, but so far it seems like he has. So let's see. Jarrell, salute to the queen. Good morning, everyone. I appreciate you. And we'll talk about it later. But the Just Nicking It show, which is usually on Thursdays because of Thanksgiving, will be Tuesday night. All right, everybody just saying good morning. Good morning. I appreciate you. I've moved it to 9 o'clock, and unless I have to log on at 9, I'll try to keep it at 9 o'clock. Okay. Here we go. Just a quick glance at where the Knicks are in the Eastern Conference after that loss last night. We're 8-9. We're now 10th in the Eastern Conference, and it's still tight. Look at 5 through 10. Indiana, a surprise team, right? 9-6. Washington, 10-7. And over their last 10, I think they've been 7-3. I want to say Toronto 9-8. Brooklyn been on a little tear as of late, 8-9. Kyrie Irving is back for them. Miami Heat and the Chicago Bulls right now are not in the playoffs or the play-in if the season was to end today. You would have to think one, if not both of them, are going to make their way into the top 10. So a team or two is going to drop. How are we feeling about the Knicks? Just in terms of their trajectory. I know coming into this 5-game West Coast trip, the trajectory didn't look good. And I would predict that at that point, I would have predicted that the Knicks would fall out of the top 10. But how they played on the West Coast trip, I think they look a little better, and I think they still have a chance to stay in the top 10. All right. Brunson seemed like the only one who came to play last night, at least in that second half. Brunson, and Grimes. Brunson, 27 points, 3 rebounds, 3 assists, only turned the ball over 1 time. Shot 52.4% from the field, was really in his bag in that third quarter. I think he scored 11 of his 27 in that third quarter, really trying to keep us in there. And the Knicks got outscored, I want to say 35-22 in that third quarter. Barrett, 12 points, 4 rebounds, 2 assists, 1 turnover, shot 27.3% from the field. You know, is this an extended slump? You know, prior to this West Coast trip, he was playing better than the first, few games, but it's been an up and down season for RJ Barrett. I think if the Knicks have any aspirations of staying in that top 10, RJ Barrett has to play better. I think it's going to be hard for them to do it with just Brunson and Randall, who can be up and down himself, unless one of the other players on this team really pops and really gives us a boost, right? Barrett, Brunson, Randall are our top 3 players. And in my opinion, this team goes as they go. And in this loaded Eastern Conference, we need all of them. So, Barrett, we need you. I think he's forcing shots. And this is the first time, and I really hope that I'm wrong. This is the first time when I'm beginning to think that RJ Barrett wants to get his stats. And I hope I'm wrong. But some of the shots, now this game, not so much. He only took 11 shots, right? However, he went to the line 6 times. So those are considered shots as well, right? In order to get to the foul line, you were taking a shot when you got fouled. It just doesn't count in terms of calculating your field goal percentage, but, they were shots. But this is the first time over these last few games where the thought even entered my mind that RJ Barrett is really trying to, either get his stats or trying to prove that he's still one of the top players on this team. And he is. I don't think the way to prove it is to force shots. I don't think the way to prove it is to average 18 or average 20 when you have to take 50 shots to do so. I think the way to prove that you're a top player on this team is to play within the flow of the game. Listen, if RJ Barrett is efficient and he's averaging 16 points, 6 rebounds, 5 assists, shooting efficiently from the 3 and from the field, and shooting 78 to 80% from the free throw line, I'm happy. So to me, it's not about the points to show that you're a good player. Like when you're watching the game, a lot of us, we watch every Knick game. Most of us, I hope, are not just focused on how many points the player scored to tell us whether or not they played well, right? We're looking at the game every play, right? So hopefully for RJ Barrett, that's not the case, that he's not thinking, that he has to score a certain amount of points. He already has his contract. Relax, play within the flow of the game, and, and do what you do, because we're going to need him. Grimes, 10 points, 5 rebounds, 8 assists, 1 turnover, shot 40% from the field. I thought Grimes looked really sharp in his first game back, particularly in that first half. You could see his ability to shoot off small sample size. We'll see more of it, because it's not just what you can do in one game. It's what you can do over the course of a season, right? So we saw the catch and shoot. We saw him pull up off the dribble. We saw his passing ability. He's a very good rebounder for his size, at least for his size and his position, at least in college he was. And you saw him being able to rebound, bring the ball down the length of the floor, and and lay it up. So let's see what we get from Grimes. But I was very encouraged by what I saw. And if this is what the Knicks have been seeing in practice, practice in and practice out, then maybe that helps me understand why they're super high. I was high on him as well, but the Knicks just seem super high. Like he doesn't play in the preseason. He goes right into the starting lineup. Like you can't include him in the trade. I thought they was like just super high on him. But if last night was any indication, I could kind of see where they're coming from. And like I said earlier, we're gonna see, does Cam remain in that starting lineup? We're not gonna see. I would be shocked to see a Grimes Cam starting lineup with RJ coming off the bench. I would be shocked. So I think it's going to be either Grimes, or Cam. We'll see. Hartenstein in 15 minutes, 7 points, 3 rebounds, 1 assist, 1 steal, 1 block, making the most of his minutes. Hartenstein on defense, he'll get to his spot, he'll put his hand up, he won't foul, but they'll score anyway. you know. Let's talk a little bit about the bench, and then I'll check in again with the chat. The bench with only 20 points in this game, right? 30 if you count McBride and Svi, but I think they came into the game when the game was basically over, right? Quickly in 28 minutes, 6 points, 1 rebound, 2 assists, a block, 2 turnovers, shot 16.7% from the field. He had a bad shooting night. It happens. 0 for 2 from the 3-point line. He has the potential to be a two-way player, but at some point, it has to be about what you're actually doing and not about what you have the potential to do, right? I think he's established himself as a very good perimeter defense, but he has not established himself as a shooter, and you can look and say, oh, he has a nice stroke, and when it goes in, it looks good. But let me see if I have it here. This season, he's shooting 35.6% from the field and 27% from the 3-point line. Do we win a few more? I'm not putting where the Knicks are right now on any one play. I'm not putting it on Barrett. I'm not putting it on IQ. I'm not putting it on Obi, Randall. I'm not putting it on any one person. But I'm just talking about the opportunity to give the team a boost, right? If Quickly fulfills his potential as a two-way player and he's shooting better, maybe the Knicks are in a different place. For his career, he's 39% from the field. 39%. And from the from the 3-point line for his career, he's 35.7%, which might be, I haven't checked the numbers. If someone has, let me know, which might be about average for the league. But for a guard, anyway, 35.7% from his career. So I think we have to stop saying, for those of us who have been saying he's a two-way player, he's not. Right now, he's a very good defender, right? His playmaking has improved, but his decision-making can be hit or miss. And as far as his shooting, it just has not been there. And at some point, we have to stop pointing to what a player can be, and we have to start pointing to what they have been, what the results have been. And up to this point, Quickly just has not been a good shooter. Obi didn't score in this game. I believe he was 0 for 4. Matter of fact, let me put that up. Obi was 0 for 4, 3 rebounds, 1 assist in 16 minutes. Rose 7 points, 4 rebounds, shot 60% from the field, 50% from 3-point line. But now he's injured, But what that does is that now opens up time for McBride. And you could tell that Tibbs trusts McBride now. Because remember last season when our point guards was going down like flies, McBride didn't get any time, right? Now he is. And that's telling me that, Tibbs is liking his progress. Whatever he's doing in practice, he's coming along. He's showing more. And he got a shot last night. And offensively, he was good. He 9 points, 1 steal, no assist, shot 66.7% from the field. I think he took 2 3-pointers, made one of them. I think the knock on McBride coming out of West Virginia was that he was a shooting guard in a point guard's body, right? So in terms of running your offense, there was some issues there. And, hopefully he's gotten better, because if Rose can't go for an extended period of time, it seems like McBride is going to be the next player up in that second unit. Now, chances are Quickly may be handling the ball and he'll be playing off the ball. We shall see. We shall see. Sims in 15 minutes, 5 points, 5 rebounds, 1 assist, 1 block. He's played himself, into the rotation for now. But again, let's see, when Mitchell Robinson is back to full strength, which way they go. I don't think all 3 of them are going to play every game. So we'll see how that goes. All right, let me check in with the chat before I get to my general observations. Shotgunner, Queen love you to death, but you kind of sound like an auntie protecting her nephew, and RJ just not it. Listen, I'm not a huge RJ Barrett fan. I mean, from the second season, everybody was on me, throwing tomatoes, calling me Debbie Downer because I didn't see what everybody else saw in RJ Barrett. I just wasn't there, and everybody's telling me about how his numbers was comparable to Brandon Ingram and who was the other guy? Jason Tatum. And but I know the numbers are the numbers, but the eye test, like you could see that he just didn't have what those guys had, you know, and players level off all the time. So 2, 3, 4 players can start off on that same trajectory statistically, and one player can level off, another player can regress, and the next player can keep on going up. So the point is, just because somebody starts off similarly to someone else doesn't mean that that trajectory will stay the same. I was on that from year 2. But now I'm just trying to be a bit more even in my analysis, you know. But RJ Barrett is what RJ Barrett is. And I've been saying that. He's going to be a very good NBA player. Maybe, 18 points a game, 6 rebounds, 4 assists. I don't think he'll ever be an efficient player, but I think he would perform better if he would get star out of his head. And how do you ask a player to do that? I just think he would be better if he wasn't trying to hit an imaginary point total. And he would just play the game and just let the game, as Tips say, let the game show you what to do and read the game. He has a pretty good a high basketball IQ. He should be able to do that. Stop forcing it. You know what I mean? Like something is going on with RJ Barrett. I don't know if he feels threatened with his position on the team or what. So I'm not trying to protect him. I'm just trying to be fair. I don't think he's playing at his baseline yet. I mean, I think we've seen enough of him to know what his baseline is. This is below his baseline, right? He should get back to his baseline over the course of the season. The issue is a lot of us was expecting him to take a step up. Forget get back to baseline. We were expecting him to take a step up, and he hasn't. And I think now with the larger sample size, more people are coming around to the idea that a lot of us had already said, this guy's not going to be a star. He's going to be a very good NBA player. Doesn't look like he's going to be a star. I don't say he won't be. Doesn't look like he's going to be a star. All right. James Earl moans. Maybe he needs some time away from the team. Like, away from the team where? You're not sending him to the G League. You're not sending him home. Like, away from the team. Yeah. White Falcon 44. This is blasphemy when the front office doesn't develop the youth and get a star. I'm protesting. I think part of developing the youth is on the youth as well. Like when you say developing the youth, what's the process? If it's just game time and you want to say, okay, developing the youth is equal to game time, and they're not getting the game time they should get, so therefore they're not developing. If that's what you mean, okay, I mean, fine, that's an argument. But for me, development is not just game time. Development is what you're doing in the off season. Development is what you're doing in practice. Development is what you're doing after the game, in your free time, in the evenings. All of that is part of development. And when you're putting in that work, it should show in the game, even in limited minutes. Like people talked about Obi's limited minutes last year and how he couldn't show what he can do. He's getting the same limited minutes this season, but you could tell he's doing more, right? So development is not just about game time, and it's not only on the coaching staff. What are you doing to develop your game? And you hear play, oh, this season I was working on my, off the dribble. I was working on this. I was working on that. And then they come into the season and it's not translating. I'm not saying that they weren't working on it. They were, but it's not translating, right? Now, as far as getting a star, I'm with you on that. I'm with you on that. D977, appreciate you. Hope all is well with you and your fam. Easy to average 18 and 20 points when you average 16 and 18 shots a game. And this is what I'm saying. For players who are not efficient, right? When you move them down the totem pole, say you do bring in a star and they're getting less shots, you can easily go from 20 points to 12, right? If you're getting 10 shots a game and you're hitting 4 out of that 10, you know? Sharice Duncan, appreciate you. Grimes last night was way more productive than him. Embarrassing. Let's see what what Grimes does over the course of the season. I'm high on him as well, but let's see. Dwayne Dennis, RJ thinks he has to be the man in order for the team to succeed. Humility isn't a characteristic when one notices they're not playing well and tries to excel in other ways to help the team. Yeah. I mean, yeah. D Night 77, RJ doesn't pass the eye test. Let me ask the chat. For everybody that's down on RJ right now, are you the same person that was down on him before, or with the larger sample size, you're able to see him for what he is? And I'm not coming at you at all. I just want to know, did you always see him that way? Or now with the larger sample size, like, okay, I get it now. After seeing him close to 4 seasons, I get what others were trying to say. Building blocks. I hate thinking about RJ when he isn't playing well because I didn't want New York to draft him. What I'm seeing now is what I thought he would be. Yeah. Okay. Namret 12. Randall is like a weight around the Knicks' throat. I mean, are you saying that the Knicks are where they are right now because of Randall? Randall has been, up and down, but I think there's multiple reasons. Well, first of all, the Knicks are right where we thought they would be, where most of us thought we would be. The only thing I would ask for the chat, and it took me a while as well, is you got to change the narrative when the play changes. When things change, you have to change your narrative. Like, you can't keep holding on to a narrative when things have changed. Shagana Nah Queen, his name is Hero Ball Barrett. If he doesn't feel like he's in the flow of the game, he gets upset and starts shooting more. Yeah. Cash Out James, last couple of minutes of that third quarter is where we lost. And guess who was the main problem? D's. I don't know if that means defense or he was talking to D. All right. Anyway, let's talk about the game flow and my game observations and get out of here. The game was tied 3 times. The biggest lead for the Knicks was 2. And I believe that was to start the game. I could be wrong. The biggest lead for Phoenix was 26. The Knicks won the second quarter, and that was it. They outscored Phoenix in that second quarter. They erased the 11-point deficit. They were really energized, like kind of, into the game. But they were outscored 35-22 in that third quarter and was down by as much as 26 in the fourth. I mean, yeah, we'll get into it. All the Sun starters scored in double figures. 8 different players hit a 3-point shot for Phoenix. They out-rebounded the Knicks 60-39, right? That's plus 21. And they out-rebounded the Knicks on the offensive glass 10-22, right? The Knicks had 10 offensive rebounds. They got 22 offensive rebounds, right? That's 22 chances to score. No one on the Knicks had over 6 rebounds, and 5 players on their team had 6 or more rebounds. Second chance points, the Knicks were down 11-19. The Knicks turned the ball over only 10 times, but they got 13 points off of those 10 turnovers. Let's just start by acknowledging that Phoenix is a better team. Let's just acknowledge that off the bat. Phoenix is a better team, even without Chris Paul, right? Cameron Payne came in and filled in admirably. I think he had, I didn't even go over the Phoenix. I think he had like 9 assists, 7 rebounds, scored, in the 20s. He filled in, very well for them. They turned on that defense. They're the 8th ranked defense in the entire league. And they turned it on in the second half, and the Knicks had absolutely nothing for them. Nothing. Right? It's a 48-minute game. And when you're playing a team, especially when you're playing a team like this, like you're not going to get away with playing 25 minutes, 36 minutes. You're not going to get away with playing 40 minutes. If you're going to beat a team that's ranked in the top 10 offensively and defensively, you have to be on it for the entire game. And in the second half, the Knicks weren't. They looked a step slow. They just looked out of it. They shot 40% for the game and 28% from, you're just not going to win like that. But I should say, Phoenix has something to do with that. It's not like the Knicks were getting wide open shots and missing. I'm sure some of them were, but 40% from the field, 28% from three, you're not winning shooting like that. The Knicks defense was porous, to say the least, right? One extra pass, they were wide open. Knicks scrambling. Whoever's playing the weak side defense had a very tough time on the swing of the ball. And it wasn't just one person. Whoever was in the key weak side, when they swung the ball around to their side, scrambling to get out and close out on the shooter. And if it was a skip pass, forget it. I mean, skip passes are harder to cover anyway, but forget it. You had a wide open shot. So I don't know how they correct that. Sometimes they were playing deeper in the key than you should be when you're the weak side defender, especially if your player is baseline. But sometimes they were right where they were supposed to be, and still a step slow on the reversal of the ball. Mitchell Robinson was coming off an injury, so he looked fatigued. He was a half step slow. He didn't seem like he was jumping as high as he could when he was attempting to block shots. So it's going to take him some time to round into shape. Randall looked like he was stuck in mud on in a lot of areas, but particularly rebounding. Like they were just getting second and third shots over him, and he was just standing there while they're jumping all around him, getting second and third opportunities, at the basket. And we talked about Barrett still struggling. But how mad are we with the Knicks losing this game? Are you really mad? I mean, was there some fatigue in the game? Maybe. Maybe there was some fatigue. You went all out to beat Utah, and I forget even right now who the other team was. And then you go into Golden State. You lose to them. You come to Phoenix. You lose. I don't know how mad I am with the Knicks. Just that in that second half, other than Brunson, who was in his bag in that third quarter, the Knicks just seemed a step slow out of it. And Tibbs just, I guess he said they entered the fourth quarter down 15. And I guess he just said, you know what? We got another game tomorrow. Let's just, I don't know. I don't think we're going to get back in this one. Let's just bring in the bench. Randall didn't play in the fourth quarter at all. RJ played like 3 minutes in the fourth quarter, right? Down 15, said, you know what? Let's just start putting the bench in. And at one point, the Knicks were down, by 26 points. I'm checking with the chat. We're going to get to the player spotlight, talk about the next game, and then we're out of here. Keith Turner, I was playing 2K23 and listening to the play-by-play. This team is unwatchable, and they send my blood pressure to the roof. At this point, Ben Simmons is shooting better than RJ. Agent Super Argo, appreciate you. RJ Greeny from LI, I take that to mean Long Island. RJ 20%, 25%, IQ 27%, Brunson 30.5%, all from three. Yeah, and you know what? The 2-point percentage numbers don't look much better. Building blocks New York Knicks is not constructed well to be consistent, not to play his fault. Leon Rose has to take the brunt of this. I do think that there's some roster construction issues, but I don't know if that's why RJ Barrett is shot 27%. I don't know if that's why Randall shot, 36%. Greedy from LA. It's not just RJ and Randall. The whole team needs to start. Yeah, the bench didn't play well last night. Either. White Falcon 44. If Randall can't drop 21 plus a game, we're not winning. It's not just. I agree. But I think between Randall, Brunson, and RJ, each of them have to score 20 plus points a game. And even then, that's just 60 points. But those guys, like, I don't think, that we can go like Randall get 20, Brunson get 20, RJ gets 15, or RJ and Brunson gets 20 plus and Randall with 9. I think he had 9. Like, you just can't win that way. The Knicks is not constructed that way. Those 3 guys have to give you at least 20 plus. That's how I see it. It's not RJ's woes or sickness. It's who he is at a number 3 pick. RJ unfortunately has hit his ceiling. He can't shoot. He can't defend. And he can't even make his leg. I'm not going to say he's hit his ceiling, but I will say that the issues are the same: finishing at the rim, shooting off the dribble, right? I think his field goal percentage at the rim is higher than it was last season. I think last season it was 54%, and this year it was 58%. But still, relative to those who play his position, I think he's in the 39th percentile, right? And that's better. I think last year he was in like the 15th percentile. So, it's better. But you can argue that the same issues that was the issues in college are the same issues now. He doesn't really have a great touch on his shot, right? Will he ever be an efficient shooter? Will he ever finish well at the rim? It's the same issues game in and game out. And that's why you can't focus on the points. Like, people will say, RJ has gotten better every year because they're looking at his stats. But when you look at the game, finishing at the rim, still an issue. 3-point shooting, it's been better. It's took a dive this year, but the past 2 years it's been like 36%, I want to say, from the corner or the non. He's shooting better from one than the other. But this year the 3-point shooting has just regressed. I think he's in a slump, but I will say, in terms of his skill set, I haven't seen much difference in his skill set. Like, I can look at Obi Toppin and I can say he's putting the ball on the floor. He's rebounding better. I'm seeing his playmaking skills. Now, these are all things he had in college, yes, but you have to be able to do it on the NBA level. And I could see some changes in his skill set on this level. For RJ, I'm not seeing an improvement in his skill level, right? Still struggling with the same things. But again, it's 17, 18 games in. We shall see. Okay. Shout out to Jay Boogie. Appreciate you. Good morning, family. Blessings, health, and happiness to you all. What a beautiful Monday. Life is so good. Yes, it is. Just know that you being here today is precious. Salute, salute, salute. 3 capital S's. Appreciate you. Joe D, there were 3 Duke players in the same draft, but there was only one star, and that was Zion. Yeah, King Ribby. That's you focusing on what everyone is doing, not just RJ. What about Randall? He's not showing up, so to speak, on everyone, not just RJ, bashing RJ, but not everybody else. Yeah, I hear you. But to be fair, RJ is playing the worst right now. But yeah, I didn't think Randall did not have a good game last night. 9 points, and again, just looked out of it, back to missing rotations, stuck in mud. They're rebounding all over him. All right. I'm just trying to, there's a lot of RJ comments, and I'm just trying to not show all of the comments of RJ. Yeah. Akuma Uzumaki. I hope I got that right. It's a two-way street. Either the player has it or he doesn't. Yes, a coach can build a player up, but does the player have it in him to do so? That age talk should be over with. Age and skill separate. Yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Um, no doubt. D. Grant, RJ to me has not diversified his game. He does the same thing he did 4 years ago. So this is his fault. Kobe Bryant worked on his game by putting time in consistently. I think RJ is putting in the time. I think he's putting in the time. But there's a difference between, you know, hitting your shot off the dribble in an empty gym or hitting your shot off the dribble in a pickup game, even with other NBA players, and hitting your shot off the dribble in a game. So the point is, you could practice it and be proficient in a pickup game in a gym, and it just doesn't translate, or it takes time to translate. Apparently, he's been working on shooting off the dribble. Right now, I say forget that. Just get better at doing what you already do, which is finishing at the rim and hitting your 3-point um, shot. James Earl, nothing wrong with being a solid NBA players. The players are young, which brings in mature. Stop, Parrish. Can we stop with that? Stop. I mean, I get it. You don't like Tibbs. You don't like Randall. You don't like RJ. You're in love with Sims and McBride and all of these players. But I'm just here to let you know, those guys ain't it either. Those guys ain't it either. The Knicks have to get players on this team. And I agree with you. Randall, RJ, Brunson definitely have a ceiling. But you're going to tell me that there's a player on this team that you think is going to be a star. Let's just stop. The Knicks just don't have those type of players on their roster, and we're just trying to do the best we can. Hopefully they can play hard. If the Knicks are going to be successful, they're going to have to play hard, develop some chemistry, right? Play better than their skill level. That's what they're going to have to do. And get a star. When was the last time New York had a star? Yeah. Don't run. Bottom, yeah. All right. Anyway, nothing but love, Parrish. But the bottom line is, I don't think what the Knicks need is on this roster, period, point blank. Let's talk a little bit about, we talked about Grimes already. I guess I'm just interested in what did you guys see? And what do you see for Grimes? Should he continue to start? Should he continue to come off the bench? 32 minutes last night, 10 points, 5 rebounds, 8 assists. Like his vision, his ability to create offense and basically not even create offense, his ability to read the defense. That's really what it is. It's just basketball. He just read the defense, right? And when they came over to stop him, he just passed, to who was open. 40% from the field, 4 for 10, 20% from 3-point line, 1 for 5, just 1 for 5 from 3, right? And went to the line twice, made one for 50%. I really like Grimes. I still would like to see Cam. In a perfect world right now, I would like to see Cam and Grimes in the starting lineup for defensive for defensive purposes, not as a punishment for RJ because he's slumping. Players slump, right? It happens. But for defensive purposes, you got Brunson and you got Grimes on one wing and you got Cam on another wing. That's a good way to hide Brunson, who's going to work hard, who's going to fight over screens, right? But he's giving up something defensively. And you got those two guys. I think that's going to help you defensively. I don't think it's going to happen. And if RJ did come off the bench, the same number of minutes, right? Well, maybe not 37, maybe like 33, 32, 33, right? So I'm not talking about RJ going to the bench and averaging 12 minutes a game. Basically the same amount of minutes, but just coming off the bench. It's not going to happen. So it's going to be between Grimes or Cam, which one stays in the starting lineup. And I think it's going to be Grimes just because organizationally they're committed to him. I'm not sure how committed they are to Cam at this point, even though he's played well for us. Grimes is better than RJ Barrett. I think we need a better sample, a bigger sample size before we can say that. D Nice, it's a shame Grimes or Cam has to come off the bench. Yeah. Keith Turner, we don't draft well to draft a star. Our scouting department has been trashed for years. They need to hire me to run that. I will definitely fix that. Listen, go back over the drafts the past few years and think about, for those of us who are content creators, how much time we put into researching these players and like this player's skill set and how this player should go here and this player should go there. And then the games start and you be like, wow, look at Okoro. Like, all right, I knew he couldn't, shoot, but like, wow. And there's some other players too. So it's a crapshoot. You can't tell me Milwaukee thought Giannis was going to be who he became, or Golden State thought Steph Curry would be who he became. You pick the best possible player. You hope like hell they turn into something. I mean, basically, basically, D Grant, people can say what they want about Randall. I could tell he worked on his game, even though it's mental. He made adjustments each year as a Knick. He regressed last year, but look at this year. I definitely see some good things in Randall this season, for sure. The Knicks need one more player. I think the Knicks need one more player. I think that, ideally, Randall would be a two-way player, right? Because when he is given effort on the defensive end, it changes the game. Maybe it's a big ask to ask what he's putting out on the offensive end and on the defensive end. Maybe. But you got to have timely defensive stops, because even Shaq said that. He said, we knew we were a good defensive team. We weren't a great we knew we were a very good offensive team. We weren't a great defensive team, but down the stretch when we needed to, we knew we could turn it up defensively and get stops, right? And I don't see that from Randall. It's either this game, I'm engaged. What was that? The Utah game or whatever. And then the next game, not so much. But I agree with you. I have seen changes in his effort level, in his attitude, and things of that sort. But the good ones live at a certain level, right? They don't just have good games. They live at a certain level. And I don't think we've seen that from Randall and RJ. We've seen it from Brunson. You just live at a certain level. That's just who you are. Geraldine MacGyver, fact stuff about Grimes. That was the whole plan for Grimes to start. No doubt about it. Yeah. All right. Let's quickly, because I always say I'm going to try to do this in like 30, 35 minutes, and it just doesn't happen. Let's get into this really quick. I just highlighted a few things. The Knicks were out-rebounded 60-39. We talked about that. Offensive rebounds, but they were also out-rebounded 22-10. Lost the battle of the boards big time last night. Field goal percentage, we talked about this as well. They shot 40%. Phoenix didn't shoot that much better, 42.6, but look at them from three. They shot 43.6% from the three-point line. The Knicks shot 28. The Knicks have not been a good three-point shooting team, and that's going to be a problem for them. In this modern NBA, you're going to have to be able to take the three, but you're going to have to be able to hit it, right? And the Knicks are not hitting it. Now, over the past few games, their attempts have gone down, and you could say, good, it should if you're not shooting it well. But you're exchanging twos for threes, it's going to be hard to win games that way as well. Points in the paint, Knicks were +4, 46-42. They're in the top of the league in terms of points in the paint. They need to get their three-point percentage up, right? You're giving up 43.6% from three, right? You're scoring in the paint, they're scoring from three, right? It's not a good trade-off. Second chance points, the Knicks had 11. They had 19. Fast break points, about even. And points off turnovers. The Knicks had 10 points off their 13 turnovers. And Phoenix had 13 off of the Knicks' 10 turnovers. All right, let's get to the next game. We play OKC. Remember, the game prior to this 5-game West Coast trip, we lost to the OKC Thunder at home. So now we're playing them in their arena. They are 7-9. They are 12th in the Western Conference. Over their last 10, they're 4-6. They're 18th in offensive rating, 18th in defensive rating. The Knicks now are 20th in offensive rating and 23rd in defensive rating. So this is going to be a game. This is going to be a game. It's a back-to-back for the Knicks, right? Because that game is tonight. And I'm sure the Knicks want to not salvage it, but I'm sure they would like to come home 3-2. So let's see what type of effort they put out. Let's see if the Knicks play for 48 minutes, which they are going to need to do coming off of this back-to-back. Now, Randall played 26 minutes. RJ played 26 minutes. Maybe that was the plan. The game was out of hand. Let's reduce these minutes so that they're ready for next game. We shall see. I anticipate the same starters: Brunson, Grimes, Barrett, Randall. I don't know if they're going to go with Hartenstein. Maybe they put Robinson back in the starting lineup tonight. We shall see. And for them, Josh Giddey, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Jalen Williams started the last game, right? Luguentz Dort, I hope I said that right, and Alexei Pokasevsky is starting at center. So a little a change in their starting lineup since we last met them. Let's see. Will Grimes be on Shai Gilgeous-Alexander? And if he is, will it make a difference? I mean, this guy is really blossoming this season, really, really playing well. And sometimes when a guy is playing well, they're really hard to defend. You got to get to them early. Once they get into their stride, it's very difficult to stop. What's next? Tonight, Queens Court, 8 o'clock on the Nothing But Knicks channel. We'll be going over the last 4 games, which was the first 4 games of this West Coast trip. We'll be talking about it with the panel, so definitely tune in to Queens Court. Tuesday at 9 p.m., the Just Knicking It show. We usually go Thursday, but Thursday is Thanksgiving. So for this week only, we'll be going on Tuesday at 9 o'clock. Make sure if you're subscribed to the channel, you have your notification button on so you'll be notified when we go live. And if you're not subscribed to the channel, what are you waiting for? Subscribe to the channel. I'll be back Saturday morning to recap the Portland show. We play Portland Friday night at home, right? So I'll be back Saturday morning to recap that show. And let me just shout out the chat before we get out of here. Dwayne Dennis, IQJ, Dish-73, who said RJ is due. I hope you're right. Pudge Nice, Geraldine, for the love of the game. Appreciate you, Hartwell. Sharice Duncan, Cormega, Jarrell. And check out Jarrell as well. He big Nick Giants fan, as I am, and he also has a show. I'm forgetting the show. Please put the name of the show, Die Hard Giants Live. There you go. In my memory. Die Hard Giants Live. The link is in the description. So please subscribe to his channel. I'm usually on the show. Obviously, yesterday I was out with the fam, so I couldn't do it. Hopefully, I'll be back. Well, Sunday I'll be away. We'll talk about it, Jarrell. 96 Till, Keith Turner, White Falcon 44, Namret 12, Keyshawn, D Grant, D's World of Hoops, who should be on 12 o'clock today, breaking down the game. Let me know if I'm right, D, if you're still listening. Cash Out James, Building Blocks, Sharice, 96 Till. I know I'm shouting some of you out twice. I got to get some moderators in here. I didn't even see that comment. Hopefully I didn't miss. Jay Boogie, I know, was in the house. Kevin Nelson, Andrew, and I appreciate all of you for coming in and rocking with me and listening to what I have to say. I missed you guys after the Golden State game. I love this community. We don't always agree, but we're not disagreeable. We're respectful to each other, and I like that about us. Until next time.
Sister, you're one of a kind.
Yes.
Sister, it's time you
That's
shine. Don't stop.
Where you at? Where you at?
Don't stop.
Where you at? Where you at?
Don't stop.
What?
Don't stop.
What?
Don't stop.